Very, very good.
Okay. Tracy Holmes is on this telly, married to Stan Grant. And one of my lotto witnesses is a former. Okay, Claire. No, I'm just showing that because I know the girl. You can get on it too if you want. When they show Tracy, okay. I was going to read a letter from the not the just from Lotto. Yeah, you can do what you want, Dad. It's not even 9 o'clock yet. So we're not. Yeah, we're not working. Yeah, we don't have to. Oh, I miss Tracy Holmes. Anyway, now I'm going to talk about my lotto outside. I can't ring them 10 o'clock. It's not even 9 o'clock yet, Dad. Yeah.
You ring him up and find out when can we go.
Yes, I know, Dad. We can go any time, but the thing is, I'll have to ring. Yeah, I'm ringing up to find out.
Don't think so. They need to tell you when they're gonna be there.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't go there.
Exactly. It's not going to be booked out. I can tell you that much. All right. I'm just going to get my letter from here, and I'm going to talk about it. This is a little bit boring, but anyway, here we go. I'm going to sit on the balcony out here. Okay, I'm on the balcony here. We're not on high up today. The whole heap of bread I better just get rid of in there somewhere. It's disgusting. Okay, we're sitting. There's bread. Can you see that? I don't know. Mount Kilimanjaro out there. Okay, and people. Now I'm going to talk about my lotto. I'll do it this way. My dad's in the room there. Okay. Now I'm going to read out to you a letter I got. I got it registered. And I know it's pretty scathing, and Lotto aren't nice to me or pretty undermining, but I said I was going to go against this letter. It was read to me by one of their people in the complaints department, because that's the number. It's number 5 I always hit to actually talk to an operator, because it's very hard to get through otherwise. And I'll read it to you. Dear Miss Rado, Golden Casket, this is it, Corporation, GC, has received your recent correspondence. Our decision in relation to your claim for this prize has been reviewed and considered by the regulator, the Office of Liquor and Gaming Regulation, and your claim has been denied by the Executive Director. They should have put ED, but they can't because it's operating. Anyway, I don't have any faith in the Office of Liquor and Gaming and the regulator, because they don't even check details. It remains our position that there is no ticket that correlates with the information provided. Yes, because I can't remember the exact time, but why the hell won't they check out my witness who bought a ticket at the same time as me, and the time could have been ascertained years ago? So accordingly, GC, Golden Casket Corporation, important people, do not believe that there is clear and irrefutable evidence to exercise a discretion to pay a prize in the circumstances. Sure, you don't want to pay it out, but you don't want to even look at my witnesses to help prove the win. We understand from your documents that you have undertaken extensive activities to identify other parties that may substantiate your claim, and have offered a reward if successful. It is prudent to consider the regulations and legislation in relation to these activities, and that repeated attempts to locate the same ticket diminishes the validity of any such claim. Fair enough. But I was there and bought the ticket, and you won't look at my witnesses. GC, I won't even tell you who they are again, may also be required to report any suspected criminal activity to the Office of Liquor and Gaming Regulation and the Queensland Police in accordance with Section 1392 of the Lotteries Act 1997. Well, they're going back to the Lotteries Act 1997. The Lotteries Act was reviewed in 2014 when my lotto when my lotto claim was being looked at the very day that went through. Okay, number two, this section also applies if a lottery agent becomes aware or reasonably suspects that a person by dishonest act has obtained a benefit for the person or another person in relation to approved lottery conducted by the lottery operator by whom the agent is appointed. Don't know where they're going with that because my lottery agent where I bought the ticket, they weren't very nice people and hence they've retired. They wouldn't even let me take a photo of the plaque that I won them in the store because they said it's private property, but it's in a public shop. Anyway, B, there has been a contravention of this act in relation to the conduct of an approved lottery by an employee of the agent or by another person. Never have I said that the shop would help me, but the lady in the post office, Billy, knows that I was there that day. And because I knew about my win about a week after, and incidentally, I'm staying in the casino today, and this is possibly where I lost the ticket because, to cut a long story short, I had the ticket in my car till the 26th of January 2014, and on the 27th, I went to check it. It was Australia Day public holiday, and there was no newsagents in Cairns open, and I decided to go to the casino. My son was having a rest, and I thought in fact, had dropped the ticket twice out of my bag and picked it up, and I thought I'd dropped it a third time, but later I believe I had put it in a pink folder in my garage. So I remember certain things like I'd taken them out of a red basket because on the 26th, I went to pick up my son from a party and I went about 3 times because I was worried about him because he'd just spent 2 weeks in hospital getting over a driving accident. So, which was at the hands of his boss, incidentally. Anyway, it's funny that I'm doing this now. I'm just using the free internet. So, in short, I have lost the ticket, I believe. The last time I remember seeing it physically is on the 27th of January 2014. It was purchased earlier in the week and I hadn't checked it. I didn't even know it had won till a few days later. A new newspaper, we just moved house, flicked open like that, and I saw the photo of the newsagent and them talking about the win. And yes, they mentioned the numbers, but anyone can get the numbers. And I'll just do a scan of around here. There's hotels with fish emblem. Anyway, so I hope this is not too boring, but again, in short, I bought a ticket with my son, who's my witness. The newsagents aren't my witness. They're not helpful at all. One of the ladies in the newsagents knows that I was there that day. She works in another newsagent. I believe their names, the ladies were Heather and Kathy, and there was another lady that had served me. Another of my witnesses is actually a former Opals player, and I found her just by sight. And she's the one with the credit card statement that no one's investigated. And another of my witnesses is the other lady that I remember at the store, and I found her by putting flyers around cars. So I believe Lotto probably knows it's me. That's one, but they know they don't have to pay out because it's going to make me upset. I can't get the exact time or the right type of ticket. But anyway, for clarity, please note that no further searches or correspondence will be accepted in relation to this matter. So it really looks like that I have to maybe file a case myself or try and get a solicitor. But furthermore, I will mention that for clarity, just to check that my details were somewhat correct, I know they're not exactly, but the statute of limitation ends the end of January next year. So golden casket, you don't have to pay out the prize, but I want to prove that it was my ticket and it's within a minute or so out, and pretty much the same type of ticket that I mentioned that I always bought and of the day. I believe it is unfair that you haven't even bothered to contact any of the witnesses. I'm not getting witnesses by paying for them, but of course you have to offer a reward. You don't get a solicitor. And went up to her and said, "Were you there that day?" I just want to film. There's a little ant on there. I don't know if you can see that. Sugar ant. It's just there. It's going back here. Oh, there's another one. Okay. I hope the sugar comes to me. Anyway, all right. Lotto are done for me for now, but I am going to send a complaint about that letter because I just want to get actions going because that letter, this letter makes me feel like that I'm trying to do some criminal activity, which I'm not. I'm not afraid of the police. We have people jumping the fence into private property houses, and the police do nothing about it. And you tell this is sad. You tell people you're trespassing and they're Indigenous, and there's Indigenous that live in the block I live in, and they say you're on our land. They just have no respect. They graffiti, they burn cars right next to my window. It's really unsafe parts of Cairns. So anyway, I'm going on a bit, but basically I was read part of this letter by a person in Lotto, and when I heard it, like as in the section that applies that about a person being dishonest or that has been in contravention of an act in relation to the conduct of an approved lottery by an employee of the agent or by another person, I take insult to that because they're not only saying that they know I've done a lot of work towards proving my claim, but that they're applying that I've been dishonest and I have not. And in fact, I'll tell you that I believe that the gaming regulator is not honest because they have known that I had a witness for so long. And, I'm just watching about the Falconio case and things that have left out and not in investigations. And I'm having another view on the person that was jailed for the Falconio murder, even though Falconio was never found. Like things come out later. Like people can not use information, as in my witnesses and their credit card statements. Now, why would a person that represented Australia, a former Opal, provide me with information? She's someone I never knew. I only just in the last week found out she was that because I looked on her Facebook. I'm not even on her Facebook. Why would her husband provide me with her credit card statement if they didn't think I was genuine in trying to prove this claim? And no reward was when I put flyers on cars around DFO where the ticket was purchased, and for someone to come forward. And the person that did come forward was the person that was there. And yes, both of my witnesses have extensive playing histories, although they didn't use their lotto cards that day. One did use a credit card. So the fact that, I won't tell you how I paid for my ticket, and Lotto know. Look, so many details I know. Like they would know what square that ticket was purchased in. They know what day it was, and I've never deterred from that day. I've always said around what amount the ticket was. I've always said that I made a mistake on the ticket. So and my playing history will show that, although I don't always use a card. And yes, I've got a bag of tickets somewhere that have similar numbers because 2 of those 6 numbers I'd used for over 20 years without even knowing, because they are, my son's now 27, they are my son and my birth months. So instinctively, I'd use those numbers and I would use them out of four squares and 3 out of 4 squares. But Lotto don't look at those things. They only look if the information, the information, the date, the type of ticket. If it's not exactly, they'll say no. And the time. Well, who can remember the exact time? But anyway, I know roundabouts the time. So if you're close enough, that should prove something circumstantially, but they don't go by that. They don't consider that. Anyway, I may not get the wealth from this, but I've got wealth of knowledge in how things operate and how Lotto are not that kind to pay out prizes and how the Justice Department do not even bother checking vital information. I'll leave it at that. Today's the 19th of the 7th, 2020. I've got 6 months and 3 days left to prove this claim. I hope I find a solicitor. Anyway, thanks. It's like I need one.